to Ikoyi, otherwise I would have missed this and I didn't want to miss it. So thank you so much for standing in for Pastor Ituah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fair enough. All right. So today, those of you that have seen the advert that we publicize, let me just quickly, I mean, I wish I wasn't the one having to introduce this icon of a figure that we all know. But he's an African journalist of high repute and loud acclaim. He describes himself, we all know him as a publisher, but I saw another word in his bio. He said he's a polemicist. And I had to Google that word to find out what it is. He says somebody that engages in controversial debates.
Yeah, very right, sir.
That's very good. He's a businessman, a philanthropist. He's an actor and a media practitioner. He's the chairman, chief executive of the Ovation Media Group, which comprises the magazine, the television, and they also have a newspaper. He has variously presented papers at different forums, talking across a range of national issues. Chief Momodu has interacted with leaders across the world, not just in Nigeria, in Africa, but across the world. He holds 2 doctorate degree, honorary causa, from the universities of Republic of Benin and Ghana. He's a recipient of multiple traditional titles, both here in Nigeria and in Liberia. He writes a column in This Day newspaper. He's a graduate of the Great Ife University. That's the Obafemi Awolowo University. He actually studied Yoruba for his first degree, but he now did English literature for his master's. I see here one of the few to hold both combinations. That's a literary feat. He's a political activist and has been for a long time. He was involved with the struggle during the Abacha regime, and he had to leave for exile for 3 years in Great Britain between 95 and 98. Chief Momodu announced his intention to run for presidential election in Nigeria in 2011. When enough was enough, he threw his heart into the ring. But of course, we all know what the result was. Chief Momodu, like most of us, strongly supported the enthronement of Buhari regime, and you will tell us why you did that and why you strongly oppose them today. In 2015, you threw your heart behind him and you totally supported him. But like most of us that did, we now know better. He's married and has children. He lives in Ghana and also Nigeria. So please welcome with me to the forum, Chief Dele Momodu, who is our special guest for today. Chief Dele Momodu, you're welcome, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for that introduction. Thank you for inviting me on this leadership series. I'd look forward to it because before it started, I'd been contacted and consulted, and I felt it was something that was really needed in Nigeria. Like an advert of British Telecom, he used to say, it is good to talk. So those of us who don't know how to fight wars, we must know how to talk. And hopefully we will be able to bring about the desired change that we all desire. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So our topic for today really is the role of the media in national development. So we're just going to go straight into the topic. We'll discuss other issues as we go along. So, sir, I just want you to let us know, what do you believe, in your opinion, is the role of the media in national development? Is the Nigerian media living up to that billing? If not, why not? And what should they be doing?
Okay, I'll break it down as much as possible because it is not as straightforward as it should be. The media, the role of the media is to disseminate information. And information dissemination also can have some branches. You may decide to be a news platform, what we call hard news, whereby you carry out investigations, you report government issues, politics, social matters and all that. And you may decide, like Ovation, you may decide to report the lifestyle of the rich and famous. There are publications that report agriculture, some report medicine, some report pharmacy. So the most versatile profession on earth that I know is the media. Everybody is a journalist. And more so today, with the proliferation of social media platforms. Anybody who has a telephone now and you have access to internet, you are a reporter. You don't have to go to any school to be a reporter. Gone are those days when people had to go to journalism school to learn. So right now, just as you have the career journalists who made journalism their permanent vocation, you also have, part-time journalists or people that we call emergency journalists, but let's be specific about the role of the career journalist. So, and leave what people have described as junk journalism aside. Our role in national development is to ensure that, one, we report fair and square. There must be objective reporting. We must reject censorship. During the military era, some of us suffered censorship. Why? Because the journalists reported what the government of the day did not want to hear about. Most governments are very intolerant of truth. In fact, the first thing that suffers in a dictatorship is the dissemination of true stories. So, as Nigerian journalists manage to live up to that expectation, my answer is no. Is yes. Because against all odds, we continue to report. You will see that though we claim to have democracy, and that we returned to democracy in 1999, but we have never, in fact, had full-blown democracy. What we have is pseudo-democracy, and it is a combination of dictatorship and just a tiny fragment of democracy. And the reason is very obvious. The last vestiges of autocracy that we thought we left behind after the regime of General Salami Abubakar, after the sudden death of General Sani Abacha, we thought we had seen the end of autocracy. But who took over as a civilian president? A retired general, now known and addressed as Chief Olusegun Okikeolakan Aremu Obasanjo. But a general is a general. Anybody who has ever been in the military, it never goes out of their blood. It's always there. So you will remember that despite the fact that we had a democratic experiment from that 1999 to 2007, when Chief Obasanjo reigned supreme, there were still occasional skirmishes between us and that government. So, and when he left in 2007, he handed over to the blood brother of a retired Major General who died in prison, Major General Shehu Musa Yaradua. So I believe it was based on the relationship that influenced the decision of the Obasanjo government to throw its weight and support behind Umaru Musa Yaradua, who later, unfortunately, died in power. And that was what gave chance to a minority state, to a minority from Bayelsa, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And of course, no sooner than the man finished his own one term, who replaced him? A retired Major General, okay? Major General Muhammadu Buhari. So when you look at it, and you look at our trajectory, you will see that the media in Nigeria have had to deal more with military generals, and they are still in control. Nigeria today is still largely controlled by a mafia, and it's a military mafia. And this makes it very, very tough. It makes it very, very tough for us, to report the way you will find in Europe, in America, and other places like that. But you will remember, we have gone to prison. I was in detention in Alagbon. We have been forced into exile. I couldn't enter Nigeria for 3 years. And mine is still very tiny, insignificant, sacrifice compared to the Femi Falanas, the Ganifa Wemis, and all of them, So that is why I am saying that against all odds, the Nigerian media, in fact, we are highly respected globally because it is very difficult to practice our trade in Nigeria without falling into some problems sooner or later. I don't know if that answers it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that lengthy and exhaustive answer. I think you did justice to the question. You gave a pass mark to the media. Some people are asking that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what will you have rated them? Where will you?
I would say 7. I would say 7.
7.
Which is still very excellent. Yes, the other 3 is beyond our power.
What are those things? What are those things that are beyond your powers?
Yes, the truth of the matter is that there are laws that make life difficult for a journalist in Nigeria.
For example,
when I was picked up and arrested in 1993, I was charged with sedition, which, according to my lawyers, no longer existed. Yet, they still took me to a magistrate court. I was put in front of a magistrate court who said I wrote seditious articles. It was as nebulous as anything you could imagine. But trust me, the day you fall into the grip and the trap of government in Nigeria, they will always exhume an extant law that is not even known, okay, to either our constitution, the so-called decrees that the military promulgated and all that. They will find one law or the other and take you to prison. And when you say to them, you are supposed to charge me to court within 24 hours, they ignore you. So what are you going to do? So journalists have such encumbrances. Also, today, there are laws in this country, Nigeria, under Buhari's government, where even as I'm talking to you now, if a media organization says something that government does not like, the NBC, the Nigerian Brokers, whatever they call themselves, can actually charge you and fine you. They are not just going to charge, they can ask you to pay as high as 9 million naira for saying something offensive against the government of the day. You don't expect to find that in it. So we are handicapped. So it's not that we cannot do 100% of what we should do. We know what to do. Nigerian journalists are among the best in the world. We have some of the finest writers in the world. And if you look at the history of Nigerian journalism, you will see that our journalists, we won awards. In fact, Nigerian journalists won the Pulitzer Award. They won the Pulitzer Award. So it tells you the level of professionalism that we have displayed in Nigeria. If you look at Premium Times and you see what they are doing today, you will see that they have done extremely well in the area of investigative journalism. If you look at the CNN Journalist of the Year Awards, it's been won so many times by Nigerians, including Shola Osukeye. So it tells you that yes, we are doing our job as we should do it, but there are limits and limitations.
All right, thank you very much. I like the fact that you spoke about investigative journalism, and I would go there a bit. But one thing I want to take you up on, Chief Momodu, is the ability of the journalist to stay on the story and see it to the end. In Nigeria, people have often said that it's one story a week. If something comes up this week, the whole newspapers and all the medias will report it. But by the time another thing comes up next week, everybody forgets what happened last week. And so the journalists are supposed to be the people that are able to stay on the story and keep it in the front burner until we get a resolution. Why are they not doing that? And that's the part of the problem.
That is not limited to Nigeria. Stories have their lifespans.
Okay.
Yes, and I always tell people that don't make the mistake of thinking that a story can last forever. I don't know of any story, after 4 or 5 days, it will get stale. Something else will take over. It's a global phenomenon. It's not just in Nigeria. Because the meaning of news itself stems from new, fresh. So people are looking for fresh news. If right now, as I'm speaking to you now, someone calls me now and says a president of somewhere has just died, and that president is relevant to my publication, I will abandon you immediately and excuse myself and say, I'm sorry, sir. This interview, we cannot continue. It happens. You understand? Yeah. So that's why you have what they call breaking news. It breaks. So no news can be followed. You may have individual reporters who now specialize in that particular category of news. So they can continue to pursue it. For every news organization, you will see that, for example, maybe there is a story on CNN and suddenly Larry King dies. Immediately, CNN will move away from the story they were doing and then move immediately to Larry King. When Prince Philip died, you would have noticed that immediately they dropped every other thing and it was Prince Philip. That is why sometimes they say journalists are like prostitutes, that we follow every news. Journalists are very, very hungry and thirsty for news. So they cannot afford, if you stay too long on a particular story and your contemporaries are pursuing news stories, you are going to be the loser. So it's not that Nigerians don't stay. That's number one. Number two is that a reporter is as good as the sources available to him. In Nigeria, it is difficult for people to speak on record because of the fear of government. About 75% of business patronage in Nigeria has direct or indirect links to government. So in fact, some of us who speak today, we are speaking at the risk of everything. It is risky for a journalist who wants to take government patronage to speak against the government of the day. They will blank you out. And unlike elsewhere in Europe and America, where I don't need government, I will have Cadbury will come, Coca-Cola will come, Guinness will come. In Nigeria, it is not how popular your publication is, it is who you know. You understand? So
Yes,
we
sir.
are part of society. We're part of this society. And if a society is not doing what it should do, then you cannot expect that journalists will be the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the earth. Because that is what people expect us to do. They expect us to operate at an extraterrestrial level.
But Chief Momodu, you guys are the fourth realm. You are the fourth realm of the republic. So you are actually part of the government. So the expectation is both the executive, the judiciary, and the legislator, you watch and report on them. Now, the reason I'm asking this is that there are news that broke, there are promises that are made that needed to be followed up. Is there any way of tracking? It may not make headline for the news, but is there any way of tracking to keep the executive in check on what they said last month, last year, or event that happened and the promises they made? The media definitely has a responsibility to take them up on that and bring the people to account.
We have never failed to do that, either as a news organization or as a columnist, an informed opinion writer. I write on the back page of this day newspaper every Saturday. I mean, in the last almost 20 years, if I've missed it, I doubt if I've missed it up to 10 times in 20 years. I am so addicted to writing because I know once I write, I am reaching millions of people every weekend. There is no power more than that. So, and I'm using that power. And I remember when I met President Buhari in 2015, I told him, I said, for 5 years, I appointed myself as special advisor, free of charge, to President Jonathan, and that I'm going to be doing the same thing to him. I'm going to be a special advisor. I'm not paid for it, but my duty and responsibility as a journalist and as an aspiring statesman is to make sure that we hold him in check. And he said it was fine. In fact, I had a compilation of all my articles on Jonathan. He requested me to autograph him for him, and I was very excited. I thought we were dealing with a man who will allow the media to thrive after all. You know, during the campaigns, I was one of those who coined the People's General, the Reformed Democrat, the born-again Democrat, you know, PR, you know how we do our thing, packaging. So we packaged him, and then we didn't know that it was a scam that we were packaging. And that's why I had to publicly apologize in my column. I've apologized repeatedly. Some people still abuse me till today that I was one of those who invited pestilence on Nigeria and that, you know, they cannot forgive us for it. But all I can do is to apologize that even me, I didn't know I could be fooled, but I was fooled. And I admit that I was fooled. And so be it. And all I can do is to make amends and make sure, because if you are fooled once, it's not a problem. If you are fooled twice, then you are a certified fool.
Thank you very much for diving into that aspect. So how will you assess the media? And before I ask that question, I just also want you to assess your colleagues who have often been either Minister of Information, spokespersons of the president. All of them were practicing journalists just like you before they got into government. But suddenly we see the vote trap when they get into government, either as communication ministers or as spokesperson. Why? I know they're supposed to speak for the government, but why that serious shift?
Well, it depends on who is on the job. I believe, I've not been on the job, but I believe I'm on the job. I will know how to handle my boss. A lot of people who get power in Nigeria, it is not out of qualification. It is again out of who you know, who is your godfather, who sent in your CV. And every government, every leader is looking for a man who can come in there, who is like a vegetable, you know, turn left, turn right, zombie style, and you are ready to do it. A lot of people, when they go into government, they have nowhere to return to when they leave government. So they want to live and die in government. They always forget that there's an expiry date. even for you, those in power. So they go there, they abuse. But when it's no sooner than they leave, then they start apologizing to us that we did, you should know now, we were under pressure. Another thing is that because of this, what do you call it, division in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there is north, there is south, so if the leader happens to be a northerner, the southern press secretary or spokesperson or special advisor is under pressure to prove his loyalty, so that they will not say, oh, the reason he cannot defend Buhari well is because the Yoruba man. So people like Femi Adesina right now, that's what they face. When Ruben Abati was working for Jonathan, okay, you would expect that he would be the one absolutely in charge of being a special advisor. But no, he had people who were also like more powerful than himself, whereas they are not in the media office. So he has to prove his loyalty, not just to Jonathan, but also to those ones, because those ones have the heirs of the president, and they are the ones who will tell the president, don't mind him, he's a Yoruba boy, he's not pulling his weight. So that is the difficulty they face. But I tell them that maybe that's why they will not give me a job, is that if I'm in that situation, God should not kill my business, I will return home very proudly and gladly. But in a situation where you have not built a business of yours, a lot of people find it difficult, and let's not deceive ourselves, unemployment is not a tea party. So not everybody is ready to suffer. That's what they face. I'll tell you, it's very unfortunate. I always feel sad when I see otherwise respectable, reputable men and women go into power and they lose everything. Why would I mortgage my life, my future, and everything for an 80-year-old man? It doesn't make sense to me. I still have my own 20 years to go to 80. So why would I say because I want to be in government for 4 to 8 years, then I mortgage everything? But some people don't mind to mortgage their lives and everything they have ever worked for because of temporary power. And so that's the situation.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Chief Dele Momodu. Okay, you threw your hat into the ring in 2011. I just want us to go there a bit. And at that time, Jonathan was still president running. What change were you hoping to make then, and why did you decide to run at that time?
You see, all of us in Nigeria, wherever 2 or 3 Nigerians are gathered, were complaining about Nigeria. We are lamenting like the beautiful Jeremiah. Everybody's always lamenting about Nigeria, but we do nothing. I got frustrated enough, and I believe foolishly too, I was galvanized into taking that decision by the emergence of Barack Obama. So I felt Nigeria was due for Obama. I felt Nigerians were tired of the 2 leading political parties. And so I felt I could now go and work with the workers' platform, which was the Labour Party. I thought the Labour Party was the right party because then every worker in Nigeria will be a member of that party. They will be able to take donations directly from every worker. So we will not have to depend on the Dangotes and the big wallets of Nigeria. But it was utopic. I was living under utopia. I thought, yes, why can't we do it? I linked up with the British Labour Party. I met with a member of parliament and the Lord, God bless him, who was ready to assist us. He introduced me to the British Labour headquarters in Pilmico, and we were meeting, we were designing, policy formations in agriculture, in housing, in transport, in education, and so on and so forth. But I came back, reported to my chairman at Labour Party in Nigeria, and I said, look, this is what I'm doing. I think we have a very robust opportunity of changing Nigeria for good and have a workers' party. And my party said, no, that I'm running too fast, that I should learn to crawl before I begin to run. So that was how that dream was killed. Yeah. I applied to be a presidential candidate. I got my nomination form. I paid the mandatory 1 million naira. Of course, I paid other 5 million here, 5 million there, where they said they were building structures for me. Then one day, a newspaper reporter called me. I was in Ghana, and he said, I've just interviewed your chairman, and he says, we're not interested in presidential election. That's after I had made all payments and all plans. So I was, of course, naturally disappointed and frustrated. I then decided, okay, which party will be similar in ideology to Labour? I thought of the party funded by the Chief Ganifa Wehimi, and that was why I moved to the National Conscience Party, where I am still today. But it's such a fringe party, and that's the lesson I've learned over time, that if you do not have the ticket of either of the two mainstream political parties, don't bother about presidential race. It's a waste of time, waste of resources. I've told my friends who are running, I told Donald Duke before 2019, I said, don't waste your time with the third force. He didn't listen to me. I'm sure today he's probably back at PDP. So, and my advice as a journalist, as a reporter today, to those who are watching us, if you have intention of running, don't waste the little money God has given you from your business on politics, because it's the ultimate casino. You are going to eat it up, and then you'll be left home and dry. But if you are able to fight within either of the two political parties, maybe you will have a better chance. So that was what happened to me. I thought I could make all the difference. I was very, very serious about making the difference, about succeeding where others failed. But unfortunately, I could not even take off at the, at the level I thought I would.
Okay, all right. Dele Momodu, I think Pastor Ituah is ready to come on now, but I will ask you two topical questions. The issue of Issa Pantami, it's topical, it's trending, it's going on. What do you think about it? The statement he made, do you think he should resign? Do you think he should be fired? What's your take on that? And after that, I think Pastor Ituah is online now. He will take over from there.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been nice talking to you, sir. Issa Pantami, I do not know personally, but I've read so much about him. In fact, our newspaper is following up on the story. The Post newspaper is an online newspaper we publish every Saturday, and they are doing research and investigation on him. It's unfortunate. If I don't like to judge people, as a Christian, the first thing I learned in Sunday school is judge not so that you will not be. I don't like to judge people and convict them summarily. So I believe the government of the day by now should be sufficiently embarrassed and should set up a committee to investigate. And if he's indicted, then he should face the music. So I'm not one of those who will say, kill him, sack him. Is it because sometimes you don't know where some of these things are coming from? As I said, I don't know him, and I believe he should be given a chance to defend himself. But if all the things we're reading and the videos I'm watching are true, then we have a big problem in our hands. Issa Pantami will definitely have to face the music. Our government, our constitution does not recognize any religion. But unfortunately, you know that those who control power in Nigeria, they use religion, they use ethnicity, and of course, plenty of cash. What James Alike would call the whiff of money, that's what they use to tie us down. So I pray that Buhari will be willing, because that's another thing. We have a president whose ways are not the ways of ordinary mortals. So
I absolutely agree with you, sir. Let me just chip in a bit. This is precisely the problem, and it ties to the question I asked before. The government has this panache of just keeping quiet and just wait for the story to die away. And the press eventually will also stop talking about it, and everybody goes back to business as usual. So how can we maintain that pressure and get the government to speak or get something to be done?
I've told you, sir, that the media
Yes,
is not the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the earth. They are human beings like you and I. There is a Yoruba saying that it is a human being that you call
masquerade.
But when when you go behind the so we are human beings like you. We have our own daily needs, we have our own daily challenges, we have other stories to do. So what the journalists will do, we will set the agenda. I can tell you that they are not ready to leave Isap and Tami at all. But then others must follow up because it goes beyond us. And I'm happy I've seen an article written by my big brother, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Michael Zekome. So you have constitutional lawyers, you have, social crusaders like Femi Falana, who I'm sure will not let it rest. You see, because if the journalist is reporting and the lawyers whose forte it is to challenge the constitutionality of his continued stay in power, if they are not doing anything, there is nothing a journalist can do. We're not prosecutors. That's why when people abuse us, you see, my job, if he will talk to me, for example, I would love to interview him. I specialize in that. When somebody is under public trial, I love to interview them because what we need is information. Right now, what is causing this problem is the lack of information. In fact, the biggest problem Buhari has is his taciturnity. He does not talk.
Yes.
If they say 10,000 people died today, Buhari would not talk. It's Femi Adesina or Garba Shehu who will just issue a statement. There is nowhere in the world. In America, we are all watching every day on television that they said they shot one 16-year-old girl, just one girl that they shot, and the whole world will not rest because of that. But in Nigeria, let us write that 10,000 people died in Ibadan, in Shasha Market, or that some people from Ogun State are now taking refuge in Benin Republic of all places. But it's not bothered. I've asked those who know him that, hey, what is the problem? They have no answer. That is why you find people carry rumor that is not Buhari that is there, because they have never seen a president who will not talk to. Look at Joe Biden kneeling down to a baby to say, I am sorry that our system killed your father. That Buhari won't do that. Buhari won't apologize to anybody. Nigeria is the only place where I know that you employ a president. Because where is employer? So you employ a president, and you are the one that now has to control to the president. You are the one who has to go and visit. All our kings have left their palaces. Our monarchs have left their palaces, and they now have to go to Aso Rock Palace on regular basis. The governors are also doing their own at their own state level. Even local government people say, will summon a king now. If it does not answer, they will discipline. So we have crisis. That's why people are talking about restructuring. A lot of people don't understand why we are crying for it. Because it's not normal. How do you employ a president and he does not talk to you? How do you employ a president? He's sick. You are the one paying for his hospital bills, heavy hospital bills running into millions of dollars, and you don't even know what is wrong with the person. There is nowhere in the world that will happen. So it's not the fault of the journalist. It's very easy for everybody to whip us. We're the whipping, lashes that, bad. They just beat us up. Our journalists are lazy. Our journalists are this. But what can we do more than to report? Our job is to report. Our job is not to prosecute. Our job is not to carry AK-47 and go and kill people in government. Our pen that used to be mightier than the sword, now we know it's an hyperbole. It's very hyperbolic. It's an exaggeration. Our pen amounts to nothing. In Buhari's animal farm, it amounts to nothing. You can talk all this grammar we're talking now. They don't even listen. And when they listen, it's just like, don't mind them. They are frustrated. It's because he wants to be a minister. We didn't give. It's the cheap blackmail we suffer. And I'm like, I want to be a minister. I won't abuse government. I'll be praising you every day.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be a minister. We not abuse government. He will be pressing you every day.
Mm-hmm.
I live very close to Bodilon. There is no way I'll get to Tinubu's gate. He will not open gate for me now. I say, okay, I'll find me something in Lagos. Even if I can't go to Abuja, I will find something in Lagos. So that's the blackmail. Journalists, trust me, we suffer a lot in this place. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. I think Pastor Ituah will take over from there. I have more questions. Pastor, if you are around, I think you can take the shot.
I'm
Thank you, sir.
around, and I want to thank you, Sonny, for holding forth. And I want to thank my brother Dele for making this possible and doing the impossible. We were together somewhere just now at the Oduma Kings, and he promised me that he'll be on at 5, and he fulfilled his promise. I'm happy for that. You're my real brother, and I
So,
want to
Pastor Ituah, you know, I will do anything in this life. All you need to do is to call me, I'll do anything. You've never left me dry. If I call on him once, he will answer 3 times. My 50th birthday, my 60th birthday, everything I do, he participates. And I want to tell you that God will never depart your home. You know that.
Amen. Amen.
You know, I
Amen.
love you,
Amen.
but you are the one who should be praying for me. But today I'm the one praying for you.
Pray for me, oh, pray for me. And thank you for your love for Ibidu and your great support. When he started. He was in my house almost every day with his crew, everybody, this and that. It was a very, very tough time. Thank you that you were there.
God bless you. God bless you.
Okay.
Thank
God
you so much.
You.
And I mean, see the support you gave Inka today again. I had to check into an hotel in Ikeja so that we can make this happen. My wife,
I know.
I just came from Abuja. I've not even seen my wife.
Me, I'll go and see her. Don't worry, I'll see her on your behalf.
No problem. In fact, she will be happy. Once you talk to her, she will know that, yes, okay,
you're safe. I'm sure she's on the program too. Thank you so much. Thank you. You do a lot of traveling yourself. Wow. Just in from Abuja. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And the rest of the program went very well, and we thank God. So somebody is taking you up here, my brother. He says you are an ardent supporter of Buhari, that you supported Buhari. And I wanted to ask that question also. Did you vote Buhari 2015 and 2019? And then what really has gone wrong? What happened? Did we, I don't know, you explain to me, what was the thinking? What happened?
Okay, before you came on the program, I'd apologized again. I will continue to apologize for the rest of my life for supporting Buhari in 2015. I didn't support him in 2019 because I said you can be fooled once, but if you are fooled twice, then you are a certified fool. So when I supported Buhari, it was because naturally, after 16 years of the profligacy of PDP, Nigerians were tired. The voice of the people, as they say, is the voice of God. Why did I contest in 2011? Because I was not satisfied with the direction PDP was taking Nigeria. So, and I lost. Nigerians did not deem me fit to vote for people like myself. So I then decided that, look, if I can't make it, why don't we then look for who can make it? And in every election, you have maximum of 2 top political parties. It's only once in a blue moon that you will have fringe political parties like what happened to Emmanuel Macron in France, who suddenly take power. But in Nigeria, in America, it's usually 2 top political parties. So in 2015, we had an option between PDP and APC. And some of us knew the weak points of Buhari. I even told him in 2010, Senator Larry Tejoso took me to Buhari's house in Abuja, and he asked why I was always criticizing him. And I told him that I'm not just criticizing you, but I believe age is not on your side, sir. He said, oh, he has something to offer Nigeria. I said, look, if I become president, I will empower EFCC and I'll put you in charge of it. He was laughing that night, you know, and that's my belief. I believe since Buhari was supposed to be the last saint standing in Nigeria, at least, purportedly, that's what we felt, that he was a saint. He said he was poor. He didn't have money. He had to borrow money to buy his nomination form and all such. So we turned out to be all packaging. But we didn't know. Then there was this myth that Buhari was very good at delegating power, like he delegated to Iago. So we felt okay with our brother, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, as his vice president. Okay, whatever Buhari did not know in terms of economics, in terms of foreign policies, and so on and so forth, that Professor Yemi Oshibajo will be able to occupy that space for him. We didn't know that they were just going to bring him there and sideline him. So that was the mistake we made. So we were looking at the people around him. I mean, Chibuke Rotimi Amechi is one of my closest friends in government. So at that time, he was very powerful. He was the campaign manager. In fact, the first thing that shocked me was that I was so sure that one of the first appointments Buhari will announce as soon as he gets power will be Rotimi Amechi. I had to go to Amechi 3 times in Abuja. Say, hey, Oga, please come. What's going on here? They've announced by Vice President, your name is not there. They announced the Secretary to Government, your name is not there. And he will say, Bobby, don't worry. The President has told him to find him something and all that. They announced Chief of Staff, your name is not there. I went there asking because I felt this would be the young, they are young people, very experienced. Amechi has been Speaker for 8 years in Rivers. He's been governor for 8 years in Rivers. That's 16 years. And now 6 years going on 8 years as minister. So you have all, and he's under 60. So I was so sure Buhari would rely on them to run Nigeria. But no, he felt sick. He traveled abroad. The decisions, everything stabilized in his absence. Professor Osinbajo was on top of the game, you know, very professional. But as soon as Baba comes back, they will dismantle everything that Osinbajo has been able to assemble. So that was how I started having problems with him. I was writing memos, and you know, on one occasion I met with him, and things started getting worse. And then I vowed that even if PDP presents a dog, you see, that's the beauty of democracy. You have to keep trying, and hopefully you will get it right. So if I believe you have failed woefully, I'm not going to promote you. There is no good school that will promote someone who has failed. Nigeria is the only place that, let's just promote him. The other person is not better. So that's what happened. It's not as if I was stupid or I didn't know that Buhari lagged some things, but we thought he had enough people with enough capacity within his party to help him out. And it's even today, if he seeks help, he can still perform wonders.
So why do you think they sidelined Professor Osinbajo? What was behind that? Because you mentioned that word, and you've probably been one of the few people that's been able to actually say that. And you know, Osinbajo is my very good friend. I have a lot of concern and worry and anxiety a little bit for him. Why do you think that is what they did? And then following that, what do you think he should do or he can do in this present time?
Well, I believe I said it also before you joined.
Pastor Ituah, we're not hearing you. You have to speak out.
Pastor Ituah,
they said you project louder.
Okay, all right. I will try.
Okay, sir.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
You can hear me better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I will respond. Professor Osinbajo is a victim of what we call the Nigerian Mafia. I discovered the power of the Nigerian Mafia around 1998-99, when Chief Olufalaye was contesting against Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Pastor Ituah, are you still there?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh, okay. So I had suggested, I was supporting Chief Olufalaye, and I suggested to him that please, if you are going to pick another vice president, pick someone very cerebral. And he asked me, who do I have in mind? And I told him someone like Dr. Riwan Lukman. Dr. Lukman was at OPEC at the time. And I volunteered. I had 1999, I was maybe barely 39 years old. And I volunteered to go to Vienna to go and speak to Dr. Lukman. And Dr. Lukman, we had dinner, then he took me to my hotel in the evening, and he said, yes, so Dele, what did you say your mission is? I said, I want you to be running mates to Chief Olufalaye. Then he laughed. I said, why are you laughing, sir? He said, I can't do it. I said, why can't you do it? I said, anybody could jump at such an opportunity. He said, no. I said, Dele, you don't understand Nigeria. I said, the owners of Nigeria, that's the first thing I heard. I said, the owners of Nigeria have decided that it's Obasanjo I said, are we not going to have an election? So we'll have an election. Are people not going to vote? Then they will vote. But the owners of Nigeria have decided that Obasanjo will be president. And trust me, yesterday I still met some people in Abuja who told me the same thing, that it's still the same style, the same system they are operating. So someone like Osinbajo is an outsider in government. He's not your hardcore politician. He doesn't know how to play the game. He cannot distribute rice. He cannot distribute gari for election. Is technocracy, for him to sit down, plan, get the best hands. I will give you an example of how they made sure they checkmated him. Our airport, I use the airport more than I use my house. And one day I came into Nigeria and I saw a very clean airport. And I asked around, I said, what happened here? They said the vice president came to the airport and he changed the way. Nigeria is the only country in the world where when you arrive, you pass through so many checks. You will first of all go to DSS. It's like you go to America, you first go to CIA or FBI, or I don't know, their equivalent. And then from there, you go to immigration. And when you leave there, you go to customs. Then you see quarantine. Then you see anti-narcotics. Then Nigeria is a pain. Unless you are a big man. I'm sure people like you are VIPs, you don't go through that. But regular people like us, we have to go through, we have to navigate our way through that. So I got there and I didn't see. Amen. And you won't believe it. I had to go and ask that, have I suddenly landed in a strange place? No, they said, no. Thank your brother, Osinbajo. He came here and he cleared them out. Now you take your passport straight to immigration. You don't have to, first of all, do merry-go-round to some other agencies. So I was happy. So I called President Osinbajo. I said, I want to come and see him. Then, before the day came, I realized that those people, they were back with a vengeance. Within days, so they came back, the airport. In fact, what they used before, when you want to check in, maybe at Virgin or something, is at the desk. They will be rummaging through your bag. This one was at the entrance. They brought some machines there. And once the machine goes through, they just call you, hey, we saw a yam in your bag. And that's how the negotiation will begin. So I went to see President Osinbajo. So I told him, I said, sir, I was coming to congratulate you on your feet at the airport. I said, but the people are back. Popov said, no, Dele, what you like to exaggerate is not true. I said, they are back. Then he put a call through to Madam Ighodalo, who was supposed to be maybe in charge of the task force at the place, and said, I have someone with me who is saying that those people are back at the airport. And the said, yes, I'm right there in the airport. It's true, sir. They are there. The Bob looked at me and said, are you serious? I said, yes. That it's even worse. You won't believe what he did. In Yoruba, you said, something like, those people now. That's the only way they will job. They are back. They came back. The vice president will give instructions they will not obey because some people thrive in confusion. It's not that we don't report. We report those we have access to. We call them. Look, I personally took Amechi to the airport one day. I was showing him things. Look, in our airport was designed and fashioned after Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. It's supposed to be one of the best airports in Africa, but lack of maintenance, lack of diligence. Do you remember we have underground car park in that airport? Nobody remembers that we took pictures, but if you go there now, it's gede. English cannot describe gede. I don't know if you know how to describe gede. All this rough. If you go there, water, flood. In fact, it's a miracle that the airport itself is still standing. I'm not a structural engineer, I don't know, but it's still standing. But if you go there, we abandoned it. In front of the airport, we used to have a car park One day, they said they were building hotel in the place. Then, before Jonathan left, they were building extensions, expansions. Till today, okay? Yes, no, 2 days ago, I landed in Abuja. It's same story. You cannot use ordinary toilets in that local airport. I don't know about the new one now, but the local wing right now, if you go there, you'll be ashamed to take your friend coming from Ghana. I'm not talking about Europe now, from Ghana. You take him through that place. So, but what I'm trying to say is that we are performing our roles, we are informing government, but we see that if a vice president is handicapped, so who is Dele Momodu? Who am I? What can I do? These guys don't care.
This is serious. You mentioned something very interesting just now, and I also had alluded to them in another way in a recent broadcast. You call them the owners of Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria, who had decided that it is so and so. I call them the gatekeepers of Nigeria. Who are these people? Who are these people that Rewan Lukman referred to as the owners of Nigeria? And what gives them the temerity to decide the future of 200 million people? And what can we do about them? How can we approach them? How can we checkmate them? How can we make sure that they take their knees off our necks? Because they are really putting their knees on our necks for nobody's good but theirs. Did you get the question?
I've thinking about it before. The story of the Nigerian Mafia, I think it would have been 2008 or thereabouts. They are known people. The first power they have is that they were in power before and they have not left power. That's the power. That's where they derive their authority from. If you have been a former president, you will still have your own acolytes, your allies in the system. For example, OBJ today, no matter what you want to say, is still one of the most formidable, one of the most influential, because he's very smart. Unlike most of the other colleagues of his, he upgraded himself, he updated himself, he became like after Mandela. You will have an Obasanjo from Nigeria. Internationally, he's known everywhere. He's very bold, very courageous, he's knowledgeable. People say it could be prone to some mistake. I don't know. Anyway, so Obasanjo definitely, General Gawan, General Babangida, General Absalami Abubakar, General Wushishi, and that is why you will see that even Buhari, as stubborn as he's supposed to be, when he seriously wanted the power, he had to go and negotiate with each and every one of them. If you go on Google, you will find how he visited Babangida. That's why Babangida was one who toppled him. You see, what happens is that they must, out of about 9 of them, they are in different layers. You have the military wing. I've mentioned some of them in that meeting. There's General Ituah, he's a good friend, you know. So he's probably the wealthiest of them all because he was able to manage business unlike the others. He went into business. So we have Ituah. Hello?
Yeah, we are hearing you. I can hear you.
Okay. I'm not seeing your face again. So you have the military wing. Then you have the business wing. Their interests are so germane that for anybody to be president, you will have to persuade them that you are not going to antagonize their business interests. Of course, leading that pack is our good friend Aliko Dangote. We have Chief Mike Adenuga. We have Femi Otedola. You have Jimovia. You have Tony Elumelu, and all of them. There is always a connection because nothing must happen to their business. If anything happens to their business, Nigeria itself will suffer collateral damages. So just as you have the military, you have the business. Then you have the cultural and traditional wing. That's where you have the Sultan of Sokoto, who is the head of the Muslim, community in Nigeria. You have, of course, the Oni of Ife and the rest of them, all those, the Obi of Onitsha. So you have them from different parts. You will have the Emir of Kano. We have the Shehu of Borno. So it's in different layers. It is almost impossible today. I don't know about tomorrow. And I've had these arguments with my friends, the younger ones who are interested in politics, the Kingsley Mogalus, the Omoyele Sowores, the Alisashiobes. I've told them, look, I have been in this game for a long time. I've worked with MK Abiola, worked with Olufalaye, and I know that unless you know how to navigate your way among these people. So, but that is one part of it. But the good news for me is that it is getting to a stage where the rich is also crying. Do you understand? A lot of our powerful people can hardly sleep with their two eyes closed in their villages. So what is affecting you and I is beginning to touch them. So maybe from now onwards, if we plan very well, we will be able to negotiate with them to say, look, we are not saying you are not important, but please, in your importance, begin to use your importance to affect merit. Bring merit into your consideration. You are not going to kill all of them in one day. It's not possible. Do you understand? And they are so entrenched that you can't remove them in one day. So what you now need to do is to try and reach out to these powerful groups so that they can begin to look at the best materials that it has pleased God to give Nigeria. Omoyele, my good friend, believes in revolution. I respect his view. I don't know whether that revolution is going to be peaceful or is going to be bloody. So, but I believe in miracles, like you, a pastor. I'm sure you believe in miracles. So you and I, we are in agreement on that. So what we are seeking now is a miracle. But I am telling you, two things will save Nigeria: a miracle or a revolution.
Okay, so would you be willing for us to do a round of these owners of Nigeria or gatekeepers and see how we can engage them? Because you've founded a very good, I don't know if a good postulation. We need to engage them, we need to talk to them, we need to encourage them to ensure that this time around we have what we call meritocracy in Nigeria to a large extent. Would you be willing to be part of an effort to do that? That's number one. And then number two, what do you think would be a credible roadmap towards ensuring that we have very, very competent leadership in Nigeria, if possible, in 2023? What would be a credible roadmap towards that? And what would you think you would like to do? After that, I'll just open the floor for a few questions from some of our people, and then we begin to wind down. And then Sonny too, if you have any other questions, please go ahead, my brother.
I would like to assure you that I've been engaging some of them, and I continue to engage them, either directly or indirectly, especially every Saturday via Pendulum. I remember the last time I spoke with President Babangida. He told me that he's addicted to my page, and that at the stage, he was getting worried that I would get into trouble with Buhari, but he's happy that Buhari has let me alone, because he said jocularly, he likes to joke a lot, that he has told his children that anytime Buhari arrests him, he will pay my legal fees. So it tells you that we are reaching them and they are reading. I met Chief John Wood today. You were there at the Yinka Odumakin ceremony. And the first thing he said is that, oh, I don't fail to read you. I watch your videos. I am amazed at how you compose and comport yourself. So a few of us, it might not be that effective or visible yet, but it means that we're touching at their hearts. The same thing General Ituah Danjuma will tell me that even when he travels, he will ask them to keep my articles for him and all that. So that's, I write not because I think people are reading, but because I want it to be on record that while everybody remained silent, I was saying my own thing. So yes, I'll be very happy to join a group if there is such a group. I've told people I'm not interested in contesting election. That is not my priority. People have asked me repeatedly, all these things you are doing, are you sure you are not? I'm not interested. So I want to say it on this very, very powerful program that I'm not interested. I'm just interested in a better Nigeria. But I know Nigeria is better. You and I, we have the brains to perform our magic. There is nothing. I mean, everywhere we go in the world, we see Nigerians are doing great things. So definitely, there are a couple of us we are talking. Of course, your brother, Anduka Obaigwena. You know, everybody's worried, everybody's concerned, and I know very soon there will be a meeting of like minds where we will say, no, we must take our country back. You know, either by appealing to their conscience or by making certain things happen. You see, because a lot of people believe right now that the easy way out is disintegration. I am not yet totally persuaded about that. If you talk to an average young person in Nigeria who did not witness the civil war, they will tell you, oh, what we did now is war, let's fight it out. You know, because people are bitter, people are frustrated, you can't blame them, you know. But so there must be a voice of reason, and there must be, like Chimawolowo wrote his books, voice of reason, voice of wisdom, voice of courage. So we must have reason, we must have courage, and so on. So we must continue to talk, we must continue to interact with them and meet with them. I'm sure a lot of them are on social media. Someone told me yesterday that, oh, no, look, they use fake names to watch you, that every night people want to see what are you talking about, you know, and that's why I talk. I will say my mind. People say, are you not afraid? I say, afraid of who? Buhari, we supported him, and if he has become a menace to us, then we must be the one to talk and speak up and let the whole world know and then find the solution to the menace.
Fantastic. Let me ask you just one more quick question, and then I'll open the floor. Okay, so we need a roadmap towards 2023 if possible. At the time, I think one of your articles, you were saying something like the best 11 or the best 12 or something like that, or maybe it was Shegun Adeni, I can't remember. I think you were running a series of the best team to sort of run Nigeria and things like that. Can I cast your mind back, and if you were in a position to choose or select leadership for Nigeria come 2023, are there like 3 or 4 or 5 people you would say, you know what, if we put Nigeria in the hands of these people, maybe we can see a change? Are there any names that you can put forward at this time?
Oh, there are many fantastic names. There are many fantastic Nigerians. But being fantastic does not guarantee you presidency anywhere in the world. Donald Trump became a president in America. It wasn't that he was fantastic. In fact, he had too many issues against him, but he still became president. So you must combine being fantastic with the ability to navigate the murky waters of politics. For example, you have an additional who is managing like an African economy. It's not just managing, you understand, the African Development Bank. But one, how do you persuade him to voluntarily relinquish his African job, his continental job, to come and join politics in Nigeria when there is no guarantee that he will win the election? I broached the idea with Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala when I interviewed her last year. In fact, she fled up. She didn't even want to hear it. They are so terrified. In fact, you will not believe how terrified they are when they hear politics, because the few times she came back home, it was like she burnt her fingers. She even nearly lost her mother in the process, you know. So it's traumatic for them for you to go and suggest. We have them. It's not that we don't have them. Nigeria has never been short of the best hands who can run. But my advice, I will tell you practically, at least from among those who have shown interest in politics, my suggestion, if you are talking in APC, me, I'll be dealing, I'm a very practical person now. I'll be dealing with the top two parties. I don't believe in the third force. It's not going to fly. It's not going to fly right now. So the two political parties, we must go and fight and proliferate them with the people we want in power. And already you have some of them inside. In APC, number one, we must agree on the principle that we must rotate power to the south for the sake of equity, fair play, and justice. After Buhari's 8 years, we must all agree, the two leading parties, we must go and fight within them and force them to, first of all, cede power to the south. And when they cede power to the south, what will then happen again is that it is normal that each political party will pick a candidate from their strongest zones. APC, for example, will look towards Southwest because right now, currently, they are controlling 5 out of 6 states. There is no other place, do you understand, in the South where they have that. So then don't let anybody fool yourself. I told them, if you want to run and you are serious about running and you say you are very popular, then carry all your crowd now and go and infiltrate that party. If my pastor, Ituah, Ighodalo, is interested, please carry all your flock, your congregation, all the people you can assemble, prophets, everybody, carry them and then go to, you are from Edo State, but you are more of an Ibadan man, just like I'm an Ife man. So now, if you want to run from Edo State, I expect that you go to PDP. Fortunately, there is no ideological difference between the two parties. I always tell people when they say some people are progressive, it's all like that's why they can crisscross at will and nothing happens. So in APC, the only person who has shown sufficient interest right now is Tinubu. But I see he's getting a lot of opposition, especially from the young folks. If you are on social media, the young folks, anytime I post him, they will abuse Tinubu, they will abuse me, abuse my father, abuse my mother. They don't know I'm doing my job of reporting, but I don't mind. You understand? I know eventually they will understand that my job is to report everybody. If I report Atiku tomorrow, they will descend on me again and say I'm supporting Atiku. You see, because they don't understand the meaning of being a journalist. So that's fine. So right now, the only person who has shown sufficient courage is Tinubu. And I'm telling my friends in APC in the Southwest that look, there is some good that Tinubu has done for you all. Tinubu has shown that we will not allow the North to bully him. So why are you all not cashing on? Do you understand? So if the friends of Oshibajo, because I've been seeing, suddenly I've been seeing the friends of Oshibajo, they are doing something, they are donating something, so which means it's preparatory to supporting their man who is already vice president. And Oshibajo is a good candidate. Every time Buhari was absent, he was able to hold the country together. And I know Ifa is one of the few people who can unify Nigeria right now in terms of APC, PDP. Everybody likes him, the governors. I speak to everybody and I know they like him. They still prefer that, hey, if we have, he may not allow, maybe we won't be able to do our business as usual. So I'm not campaigning for him, but I'm just saying that you asked me a specific question, you have an Oshibajo. Nobody will tell me that the fashioner cannot run a good Nigeria. The only problem I see is that people are going to raise the issue of religion because he's a Muslim and the North will insist on another Muslim if he's going to pick his vice. I don't know how he will be able to navigate that. Same thing with Ashwaju. He will have that same baggage to deal with. Of course, there is Kayode Fayemi from Ekiti State, a man whose brains I respect so much. He's been at King's College in England, had a PhD in war studies, and he has shown himself to be a consummate activist as well as an administrator. So he has a good opportunity. Of course, you have an Ambode who spent only 1 term as governor of Lagos, and I believe he performed spectacularly. So it's not that you don't have people to pick from. The decision will be that of his party. I'm not in the party, so I don't know, but I've given you such names. In PDP, I believe, I'm one of those who believe that the Igbos have been marginalized for too long, and the time has come. I believe they are amongst the brightest in the world, not just in Nigeria. People, if I'm the president of Nigeria, there is no way we will not have a Silicon Valley by now in Aba or in Newi or somewhere. We have a Silicon Valley. So the Igbos have a better chance now, but they must go and congregate with the PDP because that's the Republican Party, and they are more Republican in outlook. So if they go there, you have Peter Obi, you have Kingsley Moghalu, these are young, vibrant people. They're under 60. So they can go in there. I don't know, of course, there are others in the Golan, they will have to determine. You see, because what frustrates me about Nigeria is that people of Southwest will tell you, yes, the next president should come from Southwest, but when you ask them who, there is no agreement. It's a major problem they have to tackle. And you are not going to produce a president overnight. The president must be known like 10 years ago. That is why, despite the opposition to Tinubu, you will see that the man is forging ahead because he's been preparing for it. And he had a template from MKO Abiola. MKO was preparing. People were calling you Gongoshu millionaire, money misflow. They didn't know that the man was building bridges, was building, a road network towards a destination. That's what Tinubu has been doing. So those who are abusing him, instead of quickly deciding on their own candidate and working for that candidate, they are busy dissipating their energy on a Tinubu. So the Igbos should not make the same mistake. They should, as a matter of urgency, all the Igbo elders should meet, all their youths should meet. There are those, like my friend Nnamdi Kanu, who says they don't want anything to do with Nigeria again. It's their right. How they will actualize that dream, I don't know, but it's their right. But there are those who believe that for as long as you are a part of Nigeria, for as long as you carry the Nigerian passport, and when you travel, you will fill a form and they say citizenship, and you put Nigerian, then you must obey the laws of Nigeria. And you must participate in elections of Nigeria. Some people say no elections again. Again, I don't know how they're going to enforce it. So these are not the things every zone. The South, of course, the South controls PDP. That's where you and I come from. So there are younger elements there too. They don't have to be governors. There are governors who are interested according to what we are reading. I don't know who, they haven't come out, but whosoever wants to come out, the South needs to come out like 10 years ago. It's not going to come easy. So, but I know the Igbos are very, very vociferous about producing the next president. And if they want to do that, they have to do it quickly. Yes, a good man that I've always loved. And I'm not saying he must be, but that's the kind of my ideal politician, Donald Duke. I love Donald Duke. Okay. I don't know why. I'm sure it's not perfect, but he showed so much promise in Calabar as governor. And we need to encourage more of him. And I pray that Nigeria will produce more of him. In fact, the only weak point people tell me about Donald Duke is that, oh, the man, no, they give money. The man, no, they give money. Oh, the man is too stingy. For me, in fact, that's the more reason why such people should be supported. Because the man was spending the general money, the commonwealth of the people for the general good of the people. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
You've done very well. You've done very well. And I think it gives us a basis to start from, and how to engage these people and how to keep pushing them and hoping that by God's grace, maybe one or two of them can step up and step in, and at least we can have some hope in Nigeria. Because a lot of people are losing hope. A lot of people are buying second passports. A lot of people don't think anything good can come out of Nigeria. And it's a very, very despairing situation indeed. I don't know if there's anybody on the platform who is raising their hands who has any questions very quickly for our guest today, Mr. Dele Momodu, alias Bob D.
Pastor Ituah, I do. Can I go ahead?
Go ahead. Go ahead, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Dele Momodu. It's been very interesting listening to you.
The audio is bad, man.
I just wanted to make it really that I often feel as if the media in Nigeria. Can you hear me?
Okay, hearing you.
Can you hear me now? Yes. I said that I often feel as if the media in Nigeria are part of the co-conspirators that are causing the problem called Nigeria. You mentioned something earlier, sir. You talked about the fact that you felt that your job as media is to talk to the government. More so that your job as media is to talk to the people. I want to use the example, the very current example of the Issa Pantami scandal. Are we saying that there are no journalists, there are none of you who knew this information? And if so, why did all of you maintain this conspiracy of silence at the expense of the Nigerian people? That is part one of my question or my point. Then the second part, sir, is that I see very clearly that the problem with Nigeria now, we frame it as a North versus South problem. We frame it as a Christian versus Muslim problem. But I'm starting to see actually and feel very strongly that this problem is a problem of one set of people who are liberal-minded and progressive versus another set and regressive and feudalistic in outlook. Why doesn't the media support issue that is Nigeria the way it ought to be framed?
Okay, ma. Can I
so that
respond?
Perhaps we can get the... Yes, please.
Yes, the issue of Issa Pantami, I said it earlier on, I didn't know anything about him. My branch of journalism is not towards news, it's more of lifestyle and entertainment. Though, I mean, as someone who is interested in politics, I do a lot of reading. But Issa Pantami definitely escaped our radar. Most people that I know, but I'm sure I've read people who said they've written about him in the past, but maybe they didn't have the loud voices. You know, it's like you are a writer. If your name is Wole Soyinka or Chinua Achebe, more people will read you. Like when we were young, we all read James Ali Chase or Joan Collins or Sidney Sheldon. So it's the same thing in journalism. If your name is not big enough, your voice might not be loud enough. So maybe those who knew about him, but they just didn't have that reach. What has helped now in the Issa Pantami case is the proliferation of the social media. The traditional media, how many people read newspapers? How many people buy newspapers? When was the last time that you went to go and look for a newspaper to buy? In the past, in the past, it was impossible for you not to read a Tel magazine or the News or Newswatch or any of those. These days, nobody has time. Our younger generation, they are not even interested in Nigerian stories, you know. So, but a few of us have been able to migrate from the old analog system to the social media system. So things will continue to improve for Nigerian journalists, just as technology also improves. Issa Pantami now that is under watch by everybody, I don't think we've heard the last of the case. It will get to a stage where if Buhari does not act, we know those who make him act, the international community. Once the international community shows more interest in Issa Pantami, you will see that Buhari will react. The North-South dichotomy is not that the Nigerian journalists are the ones fueling it. You see, it's politicians who use, I wrote an article about 2 weeks ago where I spoke the home truth to my Fulani friends. It's not that we are the ones fueling it. It is the Nigerian politicians who fuel it, because it's very easy for them to say, oh, Kano has the largest voting population, and some people will come up on voting day, they will bring underage and they will vote, nobody will touch them. So some people control the police and they will be Fulani, some people control the army, they will be Fulani. So you can't blame us for that. I'm not the one. And that's why I wrote that Buhari is deliberately provoking Nigerians, especially southern Nigerians, and making them feel like you can go to places. You have the seaport in Nigeria. So the Nigerian Ports Authority is managed by our sister, Adiza. Adiza is MPA, and then now she is enjoying a second term. And then in Nimasa, you had the Peter Side Dakuku. And then after one time, you replace him with a northerner. So why won't people feel that it's a north-south problem? It's not us. But that is the impression. It's like we live in an animal farm where some animals are more equal than others, where some people live as third-class citizens and slaves in their own countries. So that is why the word ethnicity has become one of the most popular words in our lexicon in Nigeria. So it's not our fault. It's not our fault at all. We would want to work for a united Nigeria. But if Nigerians and those who control the fortunes and misfortune of Nigeria don't want it to come together, and their followers too are following them sheepishly, then you can't blame the journalists for it. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you. There's a guy called Samuel Dada. Samuel Dada, can you introduce yourself very quickly, ask your questions?
Okay.
After that, we'll take Uche Nwosu to ask his questions. We'll take those two questions, and then we'll take it from there. Very, very quickly, please. We're running out of time.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm Samuel Dada from Italy. Sir, when you said the third force, you don't see anything in it. What do you make of it? Because, sir, if you should look at the percentage of the younger generations that are below 35 years, they are 65 to 70% of our population. And I want to tell you, sir, that right now, most of this generation are not working. They are not earning salary. They are not contributing anything to the society. In the next 15 years, this generation will be 50 years, and most of them will have given birth to the maybe progressive rate of the childbirth we are having now in Nigeria. Now, double it, sir. What do you think will come of Nigeria by then? Are we still going to have Nigeria by then? Because if these leaders are not thinking now, what will come of Nigeria in the next 15 years, 10, 15 years? I think we need a third force, a strong movement. That is my own. Because when you say we don't need third force, I think we are not ready to shape this country. Thank you, sir.
You see, politics is a game of number. Buhari remains the most popular, northern candidate ever that I've seen in terms of elections in Nigeria. He couldn't win on 3 occasions. You must win you must lock down 4 out of 6 regions in Nigeria before you can win.
Thank you, Mr.
The third force you are talking about,
I'm going to look for you.
The suggestion is that
I'm going to look for you.
To be a clean party. But it is the duty of the president.
Pastor Ituah, please. Pastor Ituah, we are hearing what you are saying.
We can hear you.
It is the duty of the president to govern saints and sinners alike. Leadership is about managing people and resources. It's not about whether, in fact, in the world, I don't know of any country that is governed by saints. Countries are governed by performance. What led us to Buhari, the mistake we made with Buhari was that we wanted a saint. And some people managed to package Buhari for us as the only saint standing. You can perform without being a saint. Once the checks and balances, the institutions, the structures are in place. So this third force we are talking about would have to win an election. And so part of those they will have to win over will still have to come from APC and PDP, the voting population. You understand? Right now, let's say APC has 20 million supporters in the last election. PDP had 15 million, that's 35 million. So if the third force is going to come, He will still have to penetrate those 35 million voters and take a chunk of them away before they can win an election. So is it not better and easier for you to now carry all your own good people that you have and go into those existing parties and make sure you can win election? Because no matter how good you are, they always say in Nigeria, the best president we never had, Awolowo was the best. It's because he couldn't cross from that progressive line into the so-called conservative line. If he was able, that's what the MKO was able to achieve. MKO realized that, look, coming from the South alone will never win me the presidency. So he worked in close concert with the North. He had his base. The man had Abiola farm in Mafia. He had his rice farm in Taraba State. He had friends in Sokoto. He built schools. He built mosques. He built churches. So it is impossible for any third force to win an election if you are not able to cross from one border to the other. The suggestion you are making is that you need a third force that will be a clean party to obliterate, the other two parties. For me, I don't see why we cannot work in America today, and that's the democracy we practice in Nigeria. How many times have you seen any third force emerge? The third forces that were permissible were the independent candidate. Ross Perot tried it, he failed. Donald Trump hijacked the Republican Party. Today, the Republican Party is a lackey of Donald Trump. Because the man first, he was smart, he went into entertainment, he did everything he could do, he became a celebrity, and then everybody could relate to him. So you need Nigerians who can cross across party lines, across political divides, across ethnic divides, across religions. Without that one person, a unifier, you are going nowhere. That is my theory. I may be wrong. I'm not saying that my theory is perfect, but that is my theory. Thank you, Mr. Samuel Dada.
Sir, whenever I meet you further, I will still ask you many questions because I don't want to delay us here because I have other things to say about all what you said now. Whenever I meet you, I'll still ask you questions because I believe third force is possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Okay, Uchenna, please, Nwosu, your question very, very quickly. Uchenna, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Uchenna, we can hear you.
Thank you, Pastor Ituah. Thank you to Dele Momodu for everything you guys have been doing. The role of media in development of Nigeria, right? I want to ask a question. How can the media be able to perform their role in a country like Nigeria? Looking at everything that has been happening in Nigeria, I would say I have lost hope in Nigeria. Why? Why would I say that? Because since I was born, what we've been hearing is that Nigeria is going to be better. Nigeria is going to be better. But we keep losing our youth. We keep losing the younger generation. A country that doesn't have the youth in mind would never have a good future. And another thing I really want to add to that is we're talking about Nigeria being united, Nigeria being going places in the future. I want to be a little bit tribalistic about this, and that is my opinion. And I've been telling a lot of people about that. I've been telling a lot of people this, that so far the Northerners are still with us. We don't see that future Nigeria that we want for Nigeria. And most of the extremists that we have, the Islamic extremists that we have in Nigeria from the north, those people, they don't see us. They don't see the Christians, and even the Muslim from the western part, they don't see them as anything. They don't see them as even Muslims so far, and they have this ideology that we are all infidels and they can rule over us. So far, these people are still in charge of that country, in charge of Nigeria. I don't see any good future for Nigeria. I pray God is able to change everything. When we bring in the religious aspects, we bring in everything. But my main question is, how do you think the media can thrive? How do you think the media can play their part in Nigeria, in developing Nigeria, when this set of people are there that wouldn't allow? Look, just even some people in the West. So look at what Chief Femi Fani-Kayode did to one of the journalists sometimes ago. Look at what he did. Look at what even a pastor did to Daddy Freeze, calling him a mere journalist. You know, when journalists are being disrespected in the country, how do you think they will be able to do something to develop the country?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me allow both of you to answer that question.
Thank you so much. My response is simple: don't give up. I remember reading a poem at the beginning of Weep Not Child by Uki Wathiongo, in which they say, "Weep not child, weep not my darling. With these kisses, let me remove your tears. The ravening clouds shall no longer be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky." Trust me, the ravening clouds of Nigeria, they are not going to be long victorious. Everything has an end, there is no country that has lived perpetually in stupidity. And Nigeria is not going to be an exception. Why are we talking here? It's because we want to find a solution. And trust me, there are people who are 1 million times more brilliant than us, who are working behind the scenes, who you will not hear about them. And they are working and they are talking at international levels. People talk to us, embassies consult, and they are all worried because they have their investments in Nigeria. Do you think they want their investments to go up in smoke? No. Something will happen eventually. The reason why Nigeria has become this volatile is because you have a president whose taciturnity, as I said, makes it look like he's supporting some of these crazy issues. So if you notice, about 2 weeks ago, before the president came back, I'm sure a lot of you didn't notice. I told someone, I said, did you realize that we didn't hear a lot about all these banditry and things? So, because I'm sure they knew that Oshibajo, one, may not tolerate it. I use the word may not tolerate it. Two, you could see that Oshibajo showed empathy. He went to Enugu, he went to Ebonyi, he was going around, wherever there was trouble. That's the job of a president. You are paid to work for the people, not for the people to serve you. The day you look, all these things we are talking about can evaporate in one day. The day you have the right kind of leadership, you will see that even the bandits will run away because they will know they are no longer welcome. The president himself said they are foreigners, and yet you have done nothing about these foreigners. You said you shut down borders in the south. You shut down borders, yet people are strolling in from all parts, from Senegal, from Mali, from Niger, from Chad. So it's for you and I to continue to work, because my problem with those who are agitating and saying that the only solution is if we go apart is, let me tell you, there are terrorists in America. On a single day, 3,000 people died in New York. Has it stopped you and I from going to New York? As Americans said, we should break up because of that. It's because we're not practicing true federalism. We borrowed capitalism from America without capital. And I always tell people you cannot practice capitalism without capital. Nigeria wants to live like America, but we're not borrowing the right things. We're borrowing the wrong things all the time. That's what happens. So for me, that you have extremists and they are northerners, there are extremists who are Yoruba people, there are extremists in every race. I'm not one of those who will generalize and say, because yes, of course, the North, and that's why I wrote a letter to my Fulani friends that don't let them reduce your race or tribe to issues of cows and terrorism. There are intelligent people, there are brilliant people who have gone to the best schools. When I was in Oxford, on fellowship, I met many of them. Many of them, they are in universities, they are reading, but maybe they don't have a kind of culture, so they don't show off, you don't see them in public. So we need to begin to encourage things. So, okay, if tomorrow we say we want a Yoruba nation, if it works, for example, I opposed Brexit in Britain, but when the people decided that they wanted it, they got it. I'm not going to discourage anybody who says, I don't want to be a part of Nigeria, I'm tired. Like you now, you are tired. The Mazin Namdekanu is totally tired. You can't even talk about it. But he knows himself that there are challenges, there are hurdles facing those things. I asked him, for example, is it possible for you to have a Biafra nation without a war? He says it is possible through a referendum, but who is going to organize the referendum? So these are issues that we must address. We have people in the National Assembly who people say have become rubber stamp of the executive arm of government. So how do you have them do constitutional reforms and all those things? So it's much more complicated. It's very, very complicated. But some people say they don't mind if there is a war, they are ready to fight and all that. Again, I leave that to the judgment of each and every one of us. So that's my position. Don't give up, and don't let's use one excuse as reason why we throw away the baby with the bathwater. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We'll take 2 more questions only, and then we will close. It's been a long day for everybody. I'm sure my dear brother flying in from Abuja, going into the program, then making all these arrangements to be on this platform, must want a cup of water and some rest. So I will please beg that we'll keep every other question till next week, if possible. Next week, we'll be having a very interesting conversation with Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. So I'd like everybody to please try and tune in and be on this platform. We're looking at developing a viable nation. Nasir El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, will be our guest. Also, on the 1st of May in the afternoon, we will have a little conference to announce a few things that the African Leadership Group will be doing going forward to try and contribute a bit more and have a more robust engagement with the Nigerian people and see how we can progress the discussion further. But let's take 2 people to ask 2 quick questions, ask them one after the other, then I will ask our guest to respond, and then also with the response, give his closing remarks. My dear brother, let me say I appreciate you very much. I know this has been quite a bit of a sacrifice. The notice was short, you responded, you tore yourself out of many things to be on this platform today. As always, you've made some very, very significant comments and given some very, very factual insights into Nigeria and so on and so forth. Itemi is saying that she appreciates your frankness and sincerity of the frankness and sincerity of your submissions. Okay, so let me appreciate you very, very much for all you do and your selfless commitment to Project Nigeria. You're trying to move all over the place, building bridges, creating fora, bringing up ideas, uniting people, and doing your best to be as frank as you can in the midst of this very, very challenging environment. My prayer for both of us is that our labor will not be in vain, and that we will see the Nigeria of our dreams, and that our efforts somehow will meet success for the benefit of the commonality of the people. And thank you very much also for keeping your friends. I know you are one who keeps friends. Your good friend Aderemi Prince, we grew up together in Ibadan. And when I see him, I see you. Thank you for that committed loyalty and so on and so forth. So Innocent, please ask your question. Then we'll take a question from there's a Dikpo ITEL A33, and then we will close. And you can then just give your closing remarks, and that will be that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Pastor Ituah. I really appreciate. Once again, happy birthday, sir. Chief Dele Momodu, thank you for all the contributions you have made. We have really gained a lot of insight. My question is very straight. with all that is heating up in Nigeria right now, we see what has been happening in the West for a while, Chief Sunday Igboho, leading some campaigns. We see what is happening in the North. Then recently we began to see what started happening in the Southeast. Do we see an election truly coming in 2023 as a country in Nigeria? That's actually my question. Do we see an election really coming with what is going on right now, heating up in all the major three geopolitical zones in Nigeria? That's my question, sir.
Thank you very much, Brother Innocent. For as long as Nigeria remains, despite all our skirmishes and problems, there will be an election. What the election will produce, I don't know. But those who want to continue to control power, because we have only two options, is either you have military in power or you have democracy. And for as long as we choose democracy, the only way to do it is via elections. Even referendum is an election. So there will be an election definitely, and I've told people, and that's why I'm telling people who are saying there will be no elections, because what they are saying and what they are saying and promoting is anarchy, that they are going to fight and they are going to disrupt and make sure there will be no elections. So which means we are moving towards war. So let's hope a miracle will happen. I don't have any control over those who want to fight. And just the same way, those who don't want to fight like me, nobody has any control over me. You understand? You cannot force a man to war if he doesn't want to go to war. So unless we promote that, most know there will be elections. And once there will be elections, why are those who are complaining about a bad Nigeria are not preparing for it? Oh, they will say, of course, your vote doesn't count. I agree. But there are ways you can make your vote count. It happened in Edo State. I am sure my brother, Pastor Ituah, knows that ordinarily, our brother, Godwin Obaseki, would not have won the election in Edo State. But the people of Edo State were resolute. If you are able to replicate that in majority of the voting centers in Nigeria, there is no army in the world. There are human beings like you and I. There is no army in the world that can stop it. There is no army. Yes, I'm reading someone who is saying the anarchy is going to be an intellectual battle. Of course, that's what we are fighting here. It's an intellectual battle. But intellectual battle is a slower battle. It's a long distance race. It's not short distance. So I don't want people to be under any illusion that is going to look, when I got to London 26 years ago, I was in exile in London. We got to our office 25 years ago in Docklands. The very day we moved to the office, there was an explosion, a bomb explosion next to us in South Key Station, very close, to my office in Docklands. So, and I thought it was Abacha. We were running. Abacha. I thought Abacha had found out where I was in London, only to discover that it was the Irish Republican Army. But do we hear of Irish Republican Army today? But for years, they were throwing bombs all over London. So at the end of the day, they will still have to go and negotiate. They had Sinn Féin, they had the intellectual wing, just like you have Mazin and the Kanu now. You will have a wing that will still have to go and negotiate. There is no war that is permanent, because at some stage, then it becomes meaningless. So no war is permanent. You will still have to fight the intellectual side of it. And that's what I think we're doing now. What Pastor Ituah is doing now is an intellectual battle. So because we're not carrying daggers and AK-47 does not mean we're not fighting. And then, as I said, there are people behind the scene who are talking at the highest level. You understand? But it's not everything you can state in public. So don't let's give up hope yet. Let's hope that we can avert the war and we can have the peace that we deserve. Nigeria is blessed with everything, human and material. Thank you.
Okay, my brother, I don't see the other hand up anymore. Let me just ask you to give your closing comments. And my usual question at this point in time is this: what would you do if you were president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What are the things that you would do to bring about some kind of meaningful transformation in Nigeria? And then you can
I have no doubt, sir, about what I would do as the president of Nigeria that would create immediate impact. From the moment I become the president of Nigeria, I will become the president of every Nigerian citizen and not the president of my party. The biggest problem I see today is that you have a president who still sees himself as just APC and who does not care about what happens. So he even commented about it publicly that those who voted less than 5% for him cannot expect him to give them the same attention as those who gave him. For me, I think that's when Buhari lost it. He lost it. He must be a father figure. When we're supporting him, what I used to say was that it was a Mandela option. That's the description I gave Buhari. That in the days of tribulations, you run to the elders of the house. We ran to the elder of the house. The elder of the house chased us back to the lion. That's what has happened. So Buhari, if I were in his shoes today, I will unify Nigeria. What Nigeria needs is a unified. Let me tell you, Nigerians are not looking for too much from a leader. They are not looking for too much. Nigerians, in fact, people tell us that one day, Chief Fernandez, God bless his soul, took me to lunch in Edinburgh, Scotland, with his American wife. And while we were eating, we were busy talking about Nigeria. At the stage, the woman had to come, intervene and come. I thought we came here to have lunch. All you've been doing is talk about Nigeria. If you love your country so much, how come you cannot change the country? For me, as president of Nigeria, I must manage people and resources. That's number one. You must manage this ethnic, religious tension. Any leader who is not ready to throw his full weight into it, then you are going to end up as an unproductive leader. Let me be that charitable. The next thing is that Nigerians, especially our youth today, need education. I was born in Ilefe. My father died when I was only 13 years old. My mom was a stark illiterate. Let me use the word illiterate. There is nothing to glamorize about illiteracy. But she knew the value of education. Without education, I won't be here speaking to you today. The problem with Nigeria is the collapse of education. Even our artisans don't have the vocational training that will make them the best artisans in the world. So we all run to Togo, to go to Ghana, to go and bring people to come and do POP in Nigeria. What is wrong with us? So I will definitely invest heavily in education. You can't do it all, but you can do it structurally, systematically, and steadily, and things will begin to fall in place. So education, I will invest heavily in education. Definitely, we all talk about diversification of our economy, but nobody is doing anything about it. It's because we don't encourage. Look, the easiest way today, and that is why Ovation, which I work for, is still relevant, is our ability to connect to the younger ones, entertainment, sports. Today, if we have a president who is willing to invest in entertainment and sports, and it doesn't cost much, it's one of the cheapest investments you can make. I am telling you, Nigerians, look at that. A Nigerian just won the Grammy the other day, Burna Boy. Everywhere you go now, you go to Selfridges, you go to Harrods, you go everywhere, they are playing Nigerian music. It never used to be like that. But these guys are like orphans. They had to struggle on their own to get to where they are. Nobody is talking to them. Every election, they will gather all our movie stars. If I've told those ones, stop disgracing yourselves. They will gather them, pack them into one restaurant and say, the presidential candidate is coming to speak to them. You will not hear from that candidate again on another 4 years. If I'm the president of Nigeria, I am telling you that we will compete against the best in Nollywood, in Bollywood, in Hollywood, wherever they are, we will do it, and Nigerians will shine. There is no country I've been today where you will find Nigerians doing great things. And I went to a country of 64,000 people then. I don't know how many they are now. The Commonwealth of Dominica. I was on a radio program, a Nigerian phone there. I said, what are you doing there? He said, oh, we have many Nigerians. I discovered about 100 Nigerians in that country that year. So we have the natural talent. The merit, you must choose people on merit. Yes, I know constitutionally they will say you must pick a minister from each state of the federation. Fantastic. But go and pick the best from that state. Don't pick it because a governor says, I want my PA to be a minister. You, as president, you have the right to reject a useless person. You have the right, and you have every facility at your disposal to know who is good and who is not good. Even going on Google these days, a lot of times I want to do business with anybody. I go on Google, I don't find your name. I go on LinkedIn, I don't find your name. I go on Twitter, I don't find your name. I'll be worried. It's as if you don't exist. So for me, I don't want to take too much of your time. For me, as president, I know that if I'm able to unite Nigerians, if I'm able to pick people on merit, the best of the best, we will be the China, the India, the America, the Japan of Africa. Thank you, Pastor Ituah, for this opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me. I love you all.
Thank you very much, Bob D. Thank you for keeping the show going.
Bimbo, I saw it coming. Thank you.
Yeah, Bimbo, thank you very much. I got your message also. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so. Yeah, Bimbo, thank you. Thank you. You did very well. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's program.
Very long time no see.
We wish we'll be having El Rufai next week. God bless you all. Chief Ephraim, you didn't ask any question today.
I wanted to, you gave time. That's why I sent you a message to call me after.
Oh, I didn't see the message. I'm sorry.
Now, hold on. Speak to somebody you must invite to this forum.
Who is that?
Oh, hold on. He's a big brother. Hold on.
At
9:15.
Congratulations.
Alabo Graham Douglas.
How are you, sir?
I wish you well. Dele, that was wonderful. I listened from the beginning to the end. You actually know the problems of Nigeria and giving a solution. But then don't forget the youth. The youth of tomorrow are very vital for the liberation of Nigeria. I wish you all the best. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Alabo. Please, Chief Ephraim, you make the connection so I can bring him.
Yeah, I'll send you his number. He's in London. He arrived London.
Urgently.
He's in London too.
All right, very good.
Pastor Ituah, please. I want us to just chat with Dele for about a minute or two, just generally, please. There's so many of us that know him.
All right, go ahead. Keep chatting with him. If you won't exhaust him, chat with him.
Dele, this is Oloro.
How are you, Daddy?
I tell them.
Oloro, blow your whistle.
Oloro from Ife.
Oloro, blow your whistle.
Hold on. You have another potential, Peter Igbenidium. Dele, Peter Igbenidium is here.
How are you?
Where's Peter?
Peter.
Where have you been hiding, Peter? You've been hiding.
In England or in Nigeria?
Nigeria and me don't get on very well.
Uncle Ephraim, I think you have packed Nigeria to that place in London, no?
Peter, I see you. Long time. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
It's so good to see you all.
Right.
Thank you, Peter.
You know, Nigeria has great potential, but we have the wrong people there.
Well, we'll keep at it. That's part of what we're doing. Now you two should come back.
Come back.
Exactly.
Congratulations, Pastor Ituah.
Thank you very much.
If someone can send Chief Alabo's number to Pastor Ituah, I'll pick it from him.
Dele, I'll send it to him tonight.
Uncle Ephraim, it's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
All right, take care now.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Peter. Bye-bye.
Uncle Ephraim, how are you? Who is that? Bimbo Ashiru.
That's Bimbo Ashiru.
Ashiru,
Dele Bawo.
I know.
No bad,
Don't worry, I'll
sir.
come back.
Dipo Fagwani.
Come back.
Quick question now. Oh, down.
Daniel.
Jack Daniels. Daniels, Dipo, Jack Daniels. The big question.
It was nice listening. No, but because the time was going, someone could decide. Brother Uran here.
Indeed.